I made a cutout of it. I just found a picture on the internet. I printed it out and cut it to about the right size. And I'm going to take this prop build. I'm not going to have a list of everything you need in the very beginning because I've never done this before. So I'm just going to go through the stuff you're going to need as we're doing it. So the first thing we're going to need is a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, about roughly this big, enough so that way you can cut out 2 of these. Because I'm gonna get 2 pieces of 3/4 inch. I'm gonna glue them together. I just cut the piece in half, and I wood glued it together with some clamps. I'm gonna let it dry, and once I do that, I'm gonna put this piece on here, and I'm gonna cut it out of both pieces. So that way it gives me a nice, it's almost like a 2x4, but not quite as thick. And it'll probably be more sturdy as well. For the wires and all that, and while the wood dries, I'm going to go over all the piece parts you're going to need to cover it once you've made the wood frame of the gun. So I found this old scrappy computer on the side of the road, and I'm going to use some piece parts from here. I'm thinking I'm going to use this wire right here, and a little, maybe the ram stick as well, or something like that. I'm going to use a couple pieces from here to give it the look of the wires and all that. So far I've got this little piece right here. This is a piece of, I think, 1/8 inch aluminum that that was a hole already in, and I bent it about this shape right here. This is going to be a bracket, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And these are some more pieces I got from the computer. One of these wires right here, and this wire too. You're also going to need a spool. It doesn't matter what it, like, I just got this because it was there. And I'm gonna spray paint it silver eventually. It just needs to fit inside this right here. So it needs to fit like this, basically. And then I got some copper wire as well. And I'm gonna take the copper wire and I'm gonna wrap it around here. This is, of course, once I spray paint it, but I'm gonna wrap it around here, going over once just to cover the top, just to cover the whole thing right here. I also got this right here. This is going to be the main little circuit board that sits at the top, right here. And then I'm going to attach this cable to the little monitor once I figure out what I'm going to make that out of. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the saw, and I'm going to take the drill, and all the spots in the corners where it would be hard to get in with the saw, I'm going to drill. And then everywhere else I'm just going to cut out with the saw. And I'll show you all what that looks like in a second. And so what I'm doing to cut out the pieces right here is I'm just drilling holes and then sawing it out, and I'm going to file it afterwards. I'm going to do the same thing with this piece right here. So I'm just going to take the file and I'm going on the inside like this to make it smooth. What this is going to look like right here. It's going to be a hole. You can fit the barrel inside, like the wheel inside like that. That's what it looks like so far. Instead of going with the plywood, I went with the 2x6 just because the plywood was chipping all over the place. Say hi, Indiana. And I'm going to re-drill this hole right here like I did before in the other piece, but I took the trigger off because I'm going to make that out of aluminum. And I might cut the barrel off and use PVC pipe. I don't know yet. I'll see how this looks. And I'll get back to you once I've shaped it. I'm just going to round it off and make it a little bit thinner too, probably. Modifications. This is made out of a piece of, like, I guess it's like 3/4 inch wood. And I'm gonna cut this piece out, and I'm gonna scrap this part of it and just keep the handle. And I'm gonna drill a little section in the middle where I can slide the 2 pieces together, because this is way too thick to be the handle of the gun. So I'm just gonna do that and see how that looks. So what I did here was I'm cutting most of this out. I cut this part out. Then this is the barrel right here. I cut that out. I'm just gonna now drill a hole through the middle right here to make it look like there's an actual barrel. But to stop it from splitting, I'm going to take one of these and I'm gonna attach that to the front. Then I'm gonna go in with a small bit in the center. Then I'm gonna increase bit sizes slowly over time to stop it from splitting, because this is pretty soft wood. So I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So that didn't work. It shattered the thing, and I had to cut it down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this little, it's a 3" and 5/8 I guess coupler or something like that, and I filed this down to where it fits on here. It should. And I'm just gonna put some tape right here to help hide that once I've painted it all. That's how that's gonna look. I drilled a hole into both of them, and I put some wood glue right here, and then I put the screw in to hold it in place. And it looks like it's coming along pretty good. Here was, I took the screw out once the glue dried, and I attached like a 5/8 dowel, maybe something like that. I sanded it down, then I glued it on down here at the bottom, so it looks now it looks like a revolver. And I'm gonna let this dry. Then I'm gonna spray paint this all like a silvery kind of color. And then I'm also gonna do the same with, where'd it go? This piece right here. This is gonna be like the coil, and I drilled a little hole right here too because I'm gonna wrap some copper wire around it once I've spray painted it. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So far I took the spool coil, and after I painted it, I drilled a hole in it. Then I wrapped this copper wiring around it, but I did not paint this with a little black like I did the rest of this right here. I took the tape off. I'm leaving this handle wood because I'm going to stain it. And then I also trimmed the edges right here because they were pointed. So that's what I have so far with this. And this just fits in like this. So you know, it kind of looks like the tool gun. And really quick, I'm just going to sand this down so it's very smooth, and then I'm going to stain it. Probably like this kind of color right here, like a brownish red. I put the polyurethane on it. I made some attachments. I put this little bolt on the back here with, I don't know what this thing is, but it was in my toolbox. It's like a little, well, it fit perfectly around the bolt, and it looks like a kind of like a switch. If you have an actual switch, I'd use that. Then I put a screw through the hole of the spool and through the back of here to hold it in place. And then I attached that little metal bracket with a small screw at the top right here. This little bracket is going to be where the screen's at. And then now I'm just going to attach a few more like odds and ends, like some of these wires and this little piece of a computer board and other things like that to give it some character. I'd get some batteries, and I have a little keyboard clicker right here that's going to go right here on the side. I have this. I have this. I'm going to have a battery right here. I'm going to have another battery right here. I'm going to put a computer chip at the top, and I'm going to put the screen right there. And I'm probably going to make a trigger too out of the aluminum plate. What I did here was I made a trigger. As you can see, it fits. It fits right here. And I'm just going to take two little screws, and I'm going to screw it in place. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Here's what the trigger looks like. It's starting to look more and more like the tool gun. And so now what I did was I drilled a hole at the top right here. And I drilled a hole in this little plate. I'm going to bolt these two together. And this is going to be the little screen on the front of the tool gun. And I'm just going to put a decal or a sticker or something on here to make it look like the screen. Now I just installed this little circuit board piece right here with that screw right there. And I've got this long wire thing coming off it right here. And this is going to attach. I'm going to super glue this to the side right here. So now it's really starting to look like the tool gun so far. So I hot glued this thing on. I hot glued that piece on so it wouldn't fall off. I hot glued the wire right there to the back. And I hot glued this wire here and some of the other ones. So this is what I have so far. So I drew the shape of the gun, and now I'm just going to cut it out. And so what I think I'm going to do here, instead of cutting it out with a skill saw or a hacksaw or something like that, or a wood saw, I'm going to drill a bunch of holes around the edge and corners and stuff like that to make sure I don't split the wood or anything like that. And then I'm going to go through a saw. Then I'm going to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these little Energizer batteries like this, these square ones, and I hooked it up with this cable by taping it with some electrical tape. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to clamp it onto the barrel of the gun right here with this little hose clamp. That's going to hide the little gap right there, and wait, it's upside down. That's gonna hide the little gap right here and hold this in place. You could use electrical tape too if you want, but this comes off without, like, with less mess. I'm just gonna screw this in place. There we go, now we have that. And this little cable I'm just gonna run through here and attach right here with some hot glue. So now what I'm gonna do is I take this little screen. It's for the tool gun. I think you can find the image on like Garry's Mod Wikipedia or something like that. But I took this and I glued it to a thin piece of cardboard. And now I'm gonna glue that with the hot glue gun to this piece of metal in the back. And it's gonna look just like the little monitor for the tool gun. I'm just gonna let that dry real quick. Also, while I was gluing this screen on, I glued a little wire on the side right here as well, and a couple other wires that hadn't been glued down yet. And it's pretty much done now. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you all liked it. I've been wanting to do something Garry's Mod related for a long time. And I thought this would be the perfect thing to build. Because I had seen you could actually buy like a real Garry's Mod made prop of the tool gun, but I couldn't find any on eBay. So I thought, hey, let's try to make one. And I don't believe I spent more than like $10 on this. Just about everything I made with it I already had, or I'd found on the side of the road kind of thing. And I swear, I am working on this. It's coming along. There's a couple parts I don't have for it yet that I need. But I am making the gravity gun too, or the physics gun. And that's going to be on the way shortly soon too. But anyways, I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And in the meantime, peace out, y'all.